Thursday, September 10. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries Minister Audley Shaw wants an improved relationship between Development Bank of Jamaica, DBJ, and Exim Bank, Jamaica. He believes this will maximize funding resources available for on-lending to micro, small and medium-sized enterprises. Speaking at the Exim Bank's annual strategic planning retreat Sunday, Mr. Shaw said the larger sums that are on lend from DBJ tend to go to larger businesses, and he wants to see a greater distribution of some of those resources going to small and medium-sized enterprises. Minister Shaw said he will be discussing the proposal with Minister of Finance and Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark, who has portfolio responsibility for the DBJ. Loans from the Exim Bank to the productive sector are projected to increase to $9.3 billion for this fiscal year. The Exim Bank is Jamaica's premier trade financing institution and the Caribbean's first export-import bank. National Security Minister Dr. Chang is concerned that since the relaxing of business hours under the state of emergency in St. James, there has been an increase in murders, including Saturday night's fatal shooting of a 6-month-old girl in Norwood. In an interview with the media on Sunday following the tour of Norwood, Dr. Chang said the imposition of the restricted hours was based on empirical data from the police. The closing time for some businesses, including shops, was 8 p.m. However, following complaints 2 weeks ago, it was changed to 10 p.m. and midnight. Dr. Chang said the difference in the rate of homicides since the first state of emergency in 2017 to present suggests that the restriction was necessary. Senior members of the People's National Party are hoping that newly elected President Dr. Peter Phillips and his challenger Peter Bunting will emerge from their meeting Tuesday with a clear signal that they are prepared to work together in the interest of the party. Phillips polled 1,427 votes on Saturday to edge Bunting by 76 votes in one of the closest leadership elections in Jamaica's political history. Since then, there have been clear signs that, despite the election being over, the rift in the party is far from being mended. Late Monday, it was confirmed that at least 5 senior members of the defeated Rise United team, its leader Bunting campaign manager Dr. Dayton Campbell, Mark Golding, Ian Hales and Angela Brown Burke, had offered their resignation from the party's shadow cabinet. Dr. Phillips has since asked members of the shadow cabinet to remain in their assigned portfolios until such time that the cabinet is restructured. Political Ombudsman Donna Parchment Brown is yet to decide on whether the probe allegation of vote buying and voter intimidation by dons in the just concluded People's National Party presidential elections. On Monday, Parchment Brown told the Jamaica Observer that while she is very concerned about the allegations, she's yet to decide if she will be investigating them. She said, quote, "I have not made a decision about whether I will act or whether I will make contact with the PNP on these matters, but I do believe that there is a broader discussion that the political parties and citizens in general need to be more aware of the code, that is the political code of conduct, and really hold everybody accountable all the time to the standards that the parties agreed to," end quote. She admitted that allegations of vote buying in political contest have been difficult to prove in the past, and this would be no different. Teenage pregnancy is a common reality in our society, and in some cases, this can be seen as blight on a girl's future, especially their education. However, that doesn't have to be the case. That's where the Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation comes in. The center is reporting that adolescent mothers who sat the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate Examinations this year, CSEC, posted a strong performance. Speaking at a recent JIS think tank session, examination coordinator Georgiana Galloway Hill said that 44 girls were entered for CSEC.
So this year, in 6 out of the 9 core subjects that we entered our students for, we had pass rates of 70% and above. And so we realized that we're getting something right, and we're just moving forward in a way that's capitalizing on the things that we're getting right and fixing those areas that, we need to work on, because, that's how it is.
The Women's Center offers CSEC teaching to adolescent mothers at its Trafalgar Road campus in Kingston and through its virtual delivery interface at rural sites. Mrs. Galloway Hill credits the students' success to the staging of regular camps and workshops. These are in addition to past paper revision, school-based assessment guidance, and consultation sessions.
We have marathon camps which take place for 2 weeks each year before the CSEC examinations, where the teachers will revise with the students, and they will sit a mock examination in which we actually try to prepare them as best as possible for these for this upcoming exams. And we have a final revision camp, which is the week before the exam, or the first week of CSEC exams, where we ask the students to be in camp and to be in residence, and we again bring in the teachers, the tutors, and we assist them as best as possible with their studying.
Mrs. Galloway Hill said that there are also regional workshops where, for example, the students in Savannah-Lamar, Westmoreland, will join the students at the Montego Bay Center in St. James, and they will study together for a day. The core subjects offered at the Women's Center are mathematics, English language, social studies, human and social biology, information technology, principles of business, office administration, family resource management, and food, nutrition, and health. Executive Director of the Center, Dr. Zoe Simpson, says pregnancy is no excuse to stop learning.
Nothing is wrong with the brain of the girls, is what we always say. And they must not be left behind on account of a pregnancy. So whatever the other girls in the formal school system, in the society, are benefiting from, whatever activities, the girls, the adolescent mothers, must also benefit from those activities.
The center was established back in 1978 in response to the high levels of teenage pregnancy in the country. Robotics is a new and exciting formula for stimulating interest in learning. Marvin Hall and his team from Halls of Learning made it their goal to create opportunities for students to become a part of the movement. We caught up with Mr. Hall at a recent Supreme Ventures Robotics camp at Arden High School in Kingston. We are already using computer-controlled robots to perform everyday tasks like cleaning, assembling, analyzing, and more. For the youngsters of the Robotics Club, which falls under the Halls of Learning Robotics Company, it's more than just a pastime. It's more like a gateway to what dreams are made of. Team member Michaela Reed Samuel competed in her first Lego League in Boston last year.
During prep school, it was just another extracurricular activity that I wanted to try, and I ended up really liking it and working really hard, and I got selected for the advanced club. And when I went, it was a whole lot of fun, and I learned different things. I learned new things that I wouldn't have learned elsewhere.
Halls of Learning is an educational services company that introduces robotics to youngsters through robotics and coding workshops, after-school programs, and clubs created to complement STEM skills, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics curriculum. Its founder, Marvin Hall, says he saw a need to help usher the next generation into future technological skills.
I started Halls of Learning because I wanted to level the playing field for Jamaican children and the rest of the world. I saw children in Singapore building robots in grade 6 in primary school, and I knew that we weren't doing that kind of activity here, and so the idea was to bring a learning revolution to the children of Jamaica.
He says parents and schools are free to contact the team and create a program.
I know you're saying private sector can get involved, parents can get involved, but how can the schools get involved?
I think that there are at least 2 ways that schools can get involved. One of the ways is through being a part of the World Robot Olympiad, which is something we launched in 2018. And schools will basically pay a registration fee, and with that they get a robotics kit, they get a competition mat, they get competition bricks, they get team jerseys, and all of this is through the sponsorship that we get to facilitate that. So schools are getting about $150,000 worth of value, including an online curriculum to train, and they're paying just about $16,000 to register. I think that more schools should get involved. More schools should reach out to Supreme Ventures and say, look, we have a batch of students, here's a list of names, this is reliable, they're going to show up, and so on. So it's about a public-private partnership where the schools do their part and the private sector does their part.
Mr. Hall says children who have participated in the program have gone on to do very well in academics.
You know, in engineering, software design, and so on, in their future studies, so right up to masters. You know, a number of our sort of hand-picked advanced group have gone on to, you know, colleges in the US and North America, Canada. So learning how to program, learning how to control the technology that we're using in our everyday lives, from the smartphone to the drones, to the computer, to the tablet. I mean, all of these things have technology embedded in them. And if technology is embedded in it, it has code. Code runs it. So in order to understand, first of all, and then invent and not just consume, you learn coding in collaboration with design and engineering, because, you know, it's a full slate. It's not just, oh, I know to code, I can invent something.
Teamwork is a huge factor in robotics, but so are other fundamental characteristics.
The robotics really helped me. For example, the competitions made me much better at public speaking, getting my points across, and the challenges made me much better at problem solving. And there's a lot of room for robotics and art to mix together as well. And I think without my experiences as part of the club and working here, I wouldn't be able to have any of that.
Designing, programming, and assembling a robot can be an exciting experience for any youngster, but Mr. Hall says you have to start with the basics.
The learning to read and the math becomes even more important. So if we're saying coding, we're also saying the math and the English has to be addressed, and we know we have a big problem with that in Jamaica. So hopefully learning to code can motivate those fundamental skills to also be raised.
With the growing belief that emerging opportunities in technology will dominate career choices in the future, Tarrant High School in Kingston is positioning its students to take advantage of jobs in areas such as robotics, programming, and animation. According to the principal, Paul Hall, who has been at the helm of the school for the past 2 years, the institution is already creating a name for itself in the area of robotics. He says his team is using robotics and the animation to create a future for students. The US dollar on Monday, September 9, ended trading at Jamaican $137.93, down by 41 cents. That's according to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary. Meanwhile, the Canadian dollar ended trading at $105.29, up from $105.03, while the British pound sterling ended trading at $170.93, up from $170.55. In regional news, the death toll in the Bahamas post-Hurricane Dorian for now stands at 45, but is expected to rise dramatically as the authorities sift through the debris. It's becoming increasingly clear that the Bahamas will have to rebuild entire towns from scratch. The work will take years, raising concerns of where to put the tens of thousands of Bahamians left homeless by the monster storm. For now, the stunned survivors are arriving in Nassau in dribs and drabs by air and by sea. Ferries are carrying between 100 and 200 people per trip. Prime Minister Hubert Minnis warned last Friday that the capital could not take in the entire population of Abaco Island, where Marsh Harbour is located, from one day to the next. Instead, the government plans to set up shelters in areas that were hit by the storm. The National Emergency Management Agency said in a statement that 2,500 people have been evacuated from the islands since the hurricane hit, most of them from Abaco. 370 have found refuge in a shelter set up in Kendall Isaac School, where another 300 people were due to be sent yesterday. 3 other shelters set up in Nassau were already filled to capacity by Sunday. The sale of Scotiabank Republic Financial Holding Limited has been approved in 6 Eastern Caribbean countries as discussions continue between the Canadian Bank and the government of Antigua and Barbuda. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, in consultation with the ECCB Monetary Council, has approved the application for the transfer of the assets and liabilities of the Bank of Nova Scotia to RFHL in Anguilla, Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, pursuant to Section 43 of the Banking Act. A release from the ECCB said its Monetary Council met on September 6 via video conference to discuss the ECCB's assessment of the RFHL's application to acquire the Bank of Nova Scotia's operation in ECCB member countries. The ECCB undertook a review of the proposed transaction. In sports, the Jamaica Athletics Administrative Association's selection committee is expected to announce the makeup of the IAAF World Championship team on Tuesday. IAAF World Championships in athletics is set for September 27 to October 8. The main areas of interest for most fans of Jamaican athletics will be the expected inclusion of Diamond Race 100 meters hurdles champion Daniel Williams, who was a few weeks ago embroiled in an eligibility dispute with the JAAA following a false start fiasco at the National Senior Championships in June. The men's 400 meters event will also attract attention, with the JAAA expected to name top Jamaican Akeem Bloomfield among the country's 3 representatives in the event, despite him not contesting the event at the trials. In the weather report, at 4 a.m., the center of Tropical Storm Gabrielle was located near latitude 43.4 north, longitude 40.2 degrees west. Gabrielle is moving toward the northeast near 41 kilometers per hour, and this general motion with an increase in forward speed is expected over the next couple of days. Maximum sustained winds are near 85 kilometers per hour with higher gusts. Little change in strength is forecast today, but a weakening trend is likely to begin tonight. Gabrielle is expected to become an extratropical low and dissipate over the far North Atlantic near the northern British Isles. Tropical Storm Gabrielle is not a threat to Jamaica. The Meteorological Service will continue to monitor the progress of this system. And that's the news on PBCJ. I'm Simone Absalom. Thanks so much for watching.